We're going live. I had to change my apron for some reason. I don't know why I grabbed black. So I'm putting on the red because we're at red, white, and blue. So welcome to Kats Creations. Live on Sunday, June the 6th, right? Where today we're going to be making this welcome barn star, which is perfect for all the patriotic holidays. It's great for right now, getting prepared for 4th of July. This sign came to us from Personalize It by Pam. You can find her on Etsy, just Personalize It. Yeah, Personalize It by Pam is how you will find her. She's got some incredible signs. This will be the last patriotic wreath that I make for 2021, and then we're moving on to end of summer, transitioning into back to school. I know kids just got out for school, but we have to do some school themed wreaths, and then we'll be moving into Halloween / fall, and then ramping up for Christmas. I know a lot of people said, well, aren't you kind of pushing the whole thing? Not really, because we always are building 3 months out, in advance. So with this being June, July, August, September, right? July, August, September, wow. Yeah, we have to be forecasting out to make sure that we have adequate inventory in our shop when customers are ready to go ahead and purchase. So if you notice, retail stores like Hobby Lobby are starting to pull out all of their stock for fall and Halloween and Christmas, which is normal for this time of the year, especially for wreath makers. We kind of follow retail or just forecast out 3 months in advance. So before I get started, if you're new, let us know you're new. We'd like to welcome you. Let us know where you're from. Hopefully you'll make a crafting connection here during one of our Facebook Lives. If you are catching this on YouTube, this is a replay from a Facebook Live from Sunday on June 6, 2021. So if you want to get notified when we add new videos on YouTube subscriptions or YouTube subscribers, just click the bell in the upper right hand corner. That notifies you that whenever we add a new video to our channel. Facebook followers, all you have to do is like and follow the page. Then once the video is going, tap the screen on the upper right hand corner. You'll get 3 dots. Simply click the 3 dots and then you'll get a sub menu. You'll want to make sure that turn live notifications is on. If you already have it, then you should be notified when we go live. If you like this video and want to replicate the design, by all means, I welcome you to do that. You'll just need to hit the share button at the bottom. It'll go ahead and share this tutorial on your page. That way, when you get all your supplies in stock, you're ready to go and you know where the tutorial is. So,
happy Sunday. Hi, Kathy, Rose, Mary, Robin, Sherry, Kathy, Gail, Vicky, Linda, too many to name, Peggy.
Okay.
Hi, all.
So we're going to go ahead and finish wiring up our 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. These are starting to come back into stock, so just keep checking your Dollar Tree week after week and see if they are available. Don't forget, you can always go online as well. You can order them there. You have the option of having them delivered to your home or to your nearest Dollar Tree for free. So check and see if those options are available for you or if you can't get out fairly regularly. So with a Dollar Tree, you have 4 rings divided by weld marks that hold all those rings in place. So they divide it into 6 sections. So what we're going to do is wire together the last. I've already done the other 5 before this. So what you're going to do is take your pipe cleaner. You're going to go ahead and wire together the 2 innermost rings right in the middle between those weld marks, trying to make sure that your pipe cleaner stays as even as possible so that you have the full use of, the whole pipe cleaner. And then we're going to go ahead and add our red one to the outside 2 rings. The reason why we wire together the outside rings together is it just gives it more stability to your frame. and it kind of helps your pipe cleaners from sliding around. So we're all set. We're going to be doing a combination of 2 different color fabric meshes. We are doing a solid navy, and then we're also going to be doing a navy and cream. These are all cut to 20-inch lengths. So we are going to be alternating the colors and hopefully get a pretty good pattern going. So in order to do the ruffle method, you're just going to kind of picture an imaginary line down the center of your mesh, and then just go ahead and pull your mesh towards you, just like so. You're going to take the finished side and add that towards the center of your wreath. And the reason why we do it this way is we want the finished edges to be towards the outside and towards the inside, more particularly to the outside, because that's where the customers are going to fuss with the wreath, straighten bows, things along that nature. So we want to keep frays down to a minimum, because when you're working with a fabric mesh, you can't use a wood burning tool. You have to use a rotary cutter. But you can reduce the amount of fraying. If it's really out of control, just go ahead and spray it with E6000 adhesive spray, and that'll help kind of keep your frays together.
And I pinned her Etsy shop.
Oh, Pam's?
Yep.
Perfect.
Charlotte said, "Oh, that sign is beautiful." It is a really pretty sign.
It is. I love, like, when you find new sign makers that you haven't found before, sometimes you just see designs that you haven't seen before from our sign manufacturers. So this is definitely one that I'm in love with. So, again,
a lot of Texans would love this sign because they love the single star, because it's the Lone Star shape.
oh, yeah, I think it could go. I think it's, it has a wide popularity. Because you have people who like the Americana look, which is very rustic, with the barn star. So we're just alternating. So we've added the navy to the inside. And we're going to go ahead and do our inside. If you've noticed, I've been cutting the inside pipe cleaners because between the size of the sign, which is a 8x10, right? Is that what I wrote, Steve? You have the paper in front of you.
8x10. Yep.
An 8x10 sign. So it's a little bit larger because normally we do 6x10. So it's going to be a little wider.
Courtney, this is not the pancake method, it's just a regular ruffle.
It's similar to the pancake method. So the only difference between this is a pancake method has 12 pipe cleaners. So you're basically putting them like, you're kind of spacing them in between, and then maybe to the weld, and then back in the center. And that way it gives you a more flat wreath. But this is just the regular ruffle method. And for me, I mean, it's similar in the fact that you just open up your mesh and so that it kind of does a round look. And I want to make sure that I'm always keeping my colors consistent.
Teresa said, "Hi from Cincinnati, Ohio. Love your work."
Who is it?
Teresa from Ohio.
Hi, Teresa. Thank you for joining us. It's a late night for people on the East and Central. Well, not really, right? 9?
Yeah, it's 9.
Yeah. I don't know why. It just feels like it's later. So it'll be a great time to transition. I'm so excited that this will be the last Patriotic Wreath. And then we get to move on to some other fun designs. I'm trying to think of like what we might do next week. Have haven't quite given it an awful lot of thought yet. So we're keeping it mostly navy and just a touch of the cream. So I'm going back to the inside, just double checking. What I'm doing is I'm alternating the interior 6. So going a navy and then a navy and cream all the way around. And also doing that on the outside as well. Because I just want a little touch of white. To this design. There we go. Trying to get it to lay the way that it's supposed to. I had the underside kind of tucked under. There we go. Trying to get it all situated so it lays the way it should. Now we're back to our navy and cream. This is my favorite mesh color, especially for the summer. It's great for nautical designs. And this, when it comes out, it sells out really quick.
Look at the mesh is
20 inches.
20 inches.
Yeah.
Yep. 20-inch ruffles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when you do two different colors. You know, you don't have to be so conscious of like, wow, am I going to run out? So now we're doing our navy.
Michelle said, hello from New Mexico. Love everything you do.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us.
Louise, she said, hello guys. I've been missing the lives. Has been a big problem, but slowly getting better.
What has?
Her eye.
Her eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to take care of your vision. We will always be available for the replay. So take care of you. Okay. Always make sure that you pull your pipe cleaners to the outside. That way, when you get ready to do the outside, you already know where your pipe cleaners are.
Yep. Hi, guys, just joining. Hi, Debbie.
Okay, we're back to the inside with our navy and cream. So this will be a little bit different than what we've done. I think I've done for the Patriotic, we have added a lot of metallics, red, white, and blue. We've done red, white, and blue ombre. Okay, let's get rid of this extra pipe cleaner. And we're back to our navy and cream on the outside. Just gonna take it over. I think I've covered everything. How the mesh is cut, how we're placing this, how we're doing the method, how long the pieces are. The mesh came from Crinkle Designs. So Crinkle Designs is on, they have their own website. So it's Crinkle, like Kris Kringle with a K, designs.us. And you'll love the items that they carry in their shop. Now we're back to our navy. Navy to the outside. And I think it's navy to the inside as well. Okay. Do you guys have any questions that I can answer for you?
Linda said, Kat, do you like to work with the raised work frame or the Dollar Tree frame better?
They both have their challenges. I think, well, the advantage of using the work frame is your pipe cleaners or your tinsel ties or pencil ties are already added. So you don't have to take the time to put all your pipe cleaners or tinsel ties in place. And then depending upon how high up they are, you might have to work with a 2 to 3 inch advantage. Like if it's an elevated that stays up, you've really got to work to cover that space, that elevation. The kind that go up and then go down, those ones are a little easier because those kind of work out the same way that this would.
On the Dollar Tree, you can put your pipe cleaners
wherever you want. Yeah. So now we're back to navy and cream.
Welcome back, Robin. She says been on vacation on the road camping for the last week.
Ooh, I bet that's fun. Where'd you go camping? I haven't been camping in so long.
Yeah.
We're like, what's camping?
Teresa said, how are you laying the mesh up against each other?
How? So like this. I just kind of open it and just lay it right next to each other.
So the finished edges are on the inside and the outside.
Yeah. The cut edges are side to side. But like when I'm doing the inside one, I kind of put the inside one like, let's see if it goes like this. So let's say this is inside. And let's take these. What I'm doing is I'm kind of overlapping the outside pieces. Oops, not those. And everything is clingy. So I'm kind of overlapping them. So like this is the inside one, and then the two on the outside are kind of overlapping the other one. So this is basically filling the gap in between the two on the outside.
Sue, have you ever tried to shrink your design down to a 12-inch wreath frame? Don't know how many ties to put on. You don't see too many 12-inch wreath frames. If they do, they're from other manufacturers, right?
Yeah, we've done 10 inches before. The RV wreath that we did was a 10-inch.
12-inch.
Yeah, but shrinking them down, yes. You would just look at the spacing on your 12-inch frame. It depends on if you have a thin frame or a thick frame, meaning how wide is your rails. Like this one, I want to say it's about 2.5 inches thick. So you have to look at the placement, but you would still stay with standard 10-inch mesh and then just space your pipe cleaners. So they're about every 2 to say almost 3 inches apart. So depending upon your manufacturer, like Steve says, it's just going to depend because some manufacturers thin rails but space kind of tight. Other ones are thicker, but the spacing seems to be wider. They're not that hard to do. I just try to make sure that you always have on the outside even numbers, because when you go to add your ribbon or your ribbon tails, depending upon what you plan on doing, you want to make sure that you end up with an even amount.
Debbie, welcome back too. She also was camping.
Welcome back. So you guys all took the last week off, so probably from like Memorial Day, right?
Yeah.
Memorial Day on. Okay. So now we're going navy again. 2 more. Okay. There's this one. Oops. Okay, and I've got one that I've got to squeeze way in here. And that should finish this up. Now, fabric mesh will fray because there's nothing to help contain those cut ends. So the more that you play with it, the more it's going to continue to fray until you finish the design. So our goal is to always minimize disrupting what you already have in place. So that means, you know, putting your ribbon ties in or ribbon tails, your bow in, everything is going to fray. But we want to minimize that. So now we're going to go ahead and add in our ribbon tails, and I mixed this one up a bit. So we're doing 3 different 2.5 inch ribbons. So we're doing the red with the stars, which came from Personally Yours, which is plyreefsteins.com. She has her own website. Then we're doing the solid white with the America, Land of the Free, Home of the Brave ribbon. And that came from Craft Outlet. And then we have this blue with the white stars, which came to us from Kringle Designs. So these are all cut to 14-inch lengths. They've already been dovetailed. So we are just going to randomly place these all the way around. So they're just going in on our pipe cleaners. So I've color coordinated them, so I'm going to actually apply the colors to the ribbons. So blue will go where blue is, red will go with red, and white will go with white.
Teresa, yeah, that's her standard. She said, do you prefer working 6 inside and 12 outside pipe cleaners?
It's just a really good go-to formula for these. I mean, you can make adaptations, you know, depending upon what you're using. Like if someone handed me a 15-inch work frame, you would just work with what you have. The one that we did here was a work frame, and this one had 8 on the inside and 7 on the outside. So you just kind of have to work with what you have. You know, when you come up with that odd number, it's like, what do you do? What do you do with the extra?
Linda said, I'm having trouble keeping the Hobby Lobby mesh from fraying, even though I use a wood burning tool.
Well, what type of mesh are you?
Just the basic.
Yeah, basic mesh is gonna, it's not the best, but it is a good starting point because it will help you a step. If you can get that under control, then when you get to really good mesh or premium quality mesh, wow, these got out of sync. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going. Somewhere along the line, the red, white, and blue changed. Oh, look, no, we're right. Okay.
So yeah, we wouldn't recommend buying any of the basic mesh from Hobby Lobby. The premium mesh can be okay, but Kat loves to get it from Craft Outlet or Kringle or places like that now.
Changed. So I'm going to, yeah, because if you look, you have red, white, blue, red, blue, white, red, blue, white, red, blue, white. It kind of like, somewhere along the line, the pipe cleaners got switched. So I'm just going to keep following my pattern and not following the colors of the pipe cleaner. So I was like, wait a minute, it's too soon for white. But that'll work out okay. As long as it stays. I'm just following.
Jenny, the sign is from Personalize by Pam's, and her link is at the bottom. I pinned it.
Okay. This. Woo. Fabric mesh loves to grab everything. So if you've got a loose thread or a loose wire, it just wants to grab hold and not let go. Then go back to our blue. Hold on, red, blue, white, red, blue, white, red. Okay. Just making sure. Always good to stop and just double check. Because normally I just do 2. This one I decided to do 3. Partly because the Land of the Free America ribbon has been discontinued. So I just thought it's enough for me to put it in this design. And just kind of finish this really gorgeous ribbon.
Debbie, the peach wreath you see behind you is actually on a work frame. And I think that's a 15 or 16 inch work frame. I think it's 15 and a half inch they call it.
I think it's, yeah, 16.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was a refresh or rework she did from a wreath she made a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta redo designs. Because we were talking about that in the private group, that sometimes when you start off years, like going back in the years, you were very limited on the supplies that you had available to you. You also were very limited on color choices, Deco mesh colors. So you kind of had to make do with what you had available at the time, you know. Back then, when I started, there was only a handful of suppliers. Now there's a ton. But now supplies are running scarce. Okay, last time. And then we will work the outside and add something a little bit different. Okay, so we've alternated red, white, and blue all the way around, which kind of worked out good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the red along with the white with the blue stars and the red stripes. And we're going to double these up and we're going to do what's called a double bow. We talked about this in our Wreath of the Month group last night because people like the look of the double bows and they're like, can you do that all the way around? The answer is, can you? Is yes, you could, but what will the look be? You will have like so much ribbon overlapping other ribbon that it kind of takes away from the look you're trying to achieve by making a double bow. So what I prefer to do is do alternating double bows with just like a half bow. And what I mean by double bow is you're going to take, these are all cut, the 1.5 inches are all cut to 18-inch lengths. So you're going to take them, you bring your tails together, you go up to the top like we're going to do a half bow, then you're going to go grab the other one, do the same thing, and then you are going to put these two together, just like so. Now let me think of where I was going to place these. These are going on,
The blue?
They're gonna have to alternate wherever they go. Because I originally had them, they were gonna go on the solids, and then the other one was gonna go on the blue, but then you have the issue of double bows together. So we're just gonna alternate. So let's start here, because eventually it's going to wind up. So you put your 2 loops together. Go ahead and drop that right into your pipe cleaner where you had held it. And then what you're going to do is you are going to open your loops. You are going to right side your ribbon, because you always have one side up, one side down. Here we have the same issue. Flip that around. It's kind of hard to do it up and over. And then open them. So you have a loop, 2 tails, a loop, and and 2 tails. So that's a double bow. So we're going to go all the way around, alternating the same process. And sometimes if you want to keep them consistent, you can keep them consistent, or you can just change the direction, which is what I'm going to do. So not only are we skipping, I'm flipping the colors. So instead of red being on the right side, here I'm putting red on the left side. So they'll alternate the colors. Open.
As designer shows, you guys can decide if you want to do single bows or double bows or half bows.
Exactly. I have a lot of people say they like the look of the double bows, so I just figured for this last one, we would do double bows. But see what I'm saying? If you tried to do one here, you would have like so much ribbon just running into one another, just based on the spacing on the wreath.
Gotcha. Teresa said, I've never seen it before. I like it. Thank you.
It just gives you another embellishment to add to the outside.
She said, I like the single loop, and if you like the single loop with a half bow, then that's what you do.
Well, the good thing is this one will have both. So okay.
Thank you, Sue. She said, I really like how you teach and explain things.
Welcome. That would probably come into the fact that I was a corporate trainer for almost 6 years. So I love that job. Really and truly loved it. Loved the light bulb moments that came on when people finally are like, wow, I got it. I feel good. So making sure that you break things down and explain them. You know, I've been doing this for 3 years and a little over 3 years, almost 4 years in September. Just making sure, because you can't treat everyone that's been following you for 4 years as though they've been the 4-year followers, because you're going to lose out on the people who have never seen you before. So they need you to walk them through all the things like, how do you wire your wreath frame? How do you put your half bows or double bows together? How do you dovetail a ribbon? There's so many people that just say, just move on. You know, if you want to go back, you can go back, but, you know, you're excluding a lot of people.
Yeah, you almost have to treat every video as your first video, right?
Yeah, you do. But then you always try to make sure your designs stay fresh, which, thank the Lord, we do. All the designs are one of a kind. I don't replicate my designs at all, so they're always new. So flip this. Just kind of gives a different visual interest.
What do you think so far, girls? Give it lots of likes and loves.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be gorgeous.
You think so? Steve likes double bows. He's like, do one with double bows. I'm like, okay, we can double bow.
I'm really starting to like the dark Patriotic rather than the royal blue. I like the navy
yeah,
blue
I like
and
the navy
white.
blue too.
And the sign, yeah, it's gonna go perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Just gotta make sure we're paying attention so we don't skip any spots. Hey. We're trying to keep this one toned down a little bit, not so sparkly. That's why I chose to go with the fabric mesh. Like Steve says, you know, playing to a darker color palette instead of the royal blue, which is notorious for your traditional Patriotic wreaths. We chose to do the navy and a little bit more of a darker red. Like it's leaning on like a rusty red. I know I just saw that one fall. Okay, last double bow. And yeah, you could just do a regular, measure out your 1.5 inch ribbon, and you could just do something as simple as, you know, just a what would you call it, like a standard bow, where it doesn't have 4 tails, it just has 1 on each. But I kind of like the fullness.
Teresa said, even my Aunt Diane Elton likes watching you. You have my family followers.
Aw, thanks. Okay.
Johnny says, beautiful.
Okay. One more to flip. And then we'll go and just do the half bows. Making sure that all of your ribbon tails are just kind of going loop downward. That way they follow the direction of your wreath. And so now we're going to take this 1.5 inch. This has been discontinued too. This came from Shinoda, and I actually only have enough to put it in the outside. I had just enough to add this to the outside. So with a half bow, call it a half bow because you're just doing 1 loop, because a bow, in my opinion, should have 2. You're going to go ahead and just put your single loop in. And what it does is it becomes a 3D awareness ribbon.
Pretty much.
So we just want to make sure we keep everything up. So let me flip this around so you can kind of see what that looks like. So same theory. Pinch 2 inches from the top, place it directly in the pipe cleaner. Go ahead and give it your 3 or 4 twists. And then cut that off. And you tuck the tail end of your pipe cleaner right behind the loop so you don't see it. And then you still have to right side that one tail. But it just gives it like a more complete look, I guess. Because I always thought when people added ribbon to their wreath, it was like, well, what goes there? What goes in the middle? It needs something in the middle. So this was my solution for the what goes in the middle. You guys can tell I have my handy dandy trash can here because I'm not building my debris pile up on the counter.
Any questions?
Yeah, please let me know if you have any questions at all. Then we'll work on our bow, which is going to be a little bit a different bow. So we're going to incorporate some, we're going to do 3 2.5 inch ribbon, which we generally don't do. We usually do 2 and then 4 1.5 inches. This ribbon is so thick, which is nice. Wreath makers love nice thick ribbon.
She said that's so spectacular.
Thank you. Hopefully the blue will subdue everything. I just figured we would go double bows with the red instead of the blue because we are building on a blue base.
So now, so you're putting ribbon on the inside row?
No, just the outside 12. Because by the time you add your 8x10 sign and a really pretty decent sized bow, it's one of the things I should do is check the diameter on our bows and see how big those go. There's not much room for anything else. So you basically would just waste material if you added it to the inside. Now, if you were just leaving it this way and maybe adding a bow, by all means, I probably would go in and add some additional ribbon to the inside just to kind of break up all the blue. Okay. So big. Always end up smashing the one next to it, and you have to reflect them both.
Good, she said got it.
Okay, okay, so we are set there. Let's go ahead and make our bow. Set that to the side. So we are going to start with red. Then we're going to incorporate the white. So we have red, white, and blue. And then we are going to go red here. Now it seems a little odd. Blue. And then we're going to finish up with that really pretty red, white, and blue ribbon to the outside. So that's how it's going to stack in the Bodabra, bottom to top. So I'm going to take these ones. We'll go ahead and start with this. So dovetail. When you take your the wired ribbon, you fold it, bringing your wired edges together. And then depending upon how high up on that fold, your destination point is always going to be the same to the end of the wire. So if you want a shallow V, you know, you would start lower. But I like mine a little bit on the deeper side. And then you have a really nice V shape to your ribbon. It will forever change how you gift wrap packages and Christmas presents. So we're going to do 10 inches. We're using our Bodabra, which was my first bow maker. I've used all three. This is just my preferred because it's so easy. So it's just going to be about twisting that ribbon from right side to wrong side. And we just flip this to the other side because I always do my measurements on the left. I'm not left-handed, it's just that's how I'm determining my measures of my ribbon. So I'm going to twist it here, go ahead and push it down, recenter my Bodabra so the center of this is on my 10 line. And then I want to make sure that my loop size is about 5.5 inches out. Do the same on the other side. Need a little bit more. And then we want to go, it's really thick. So it's like pulling my Bodabra sideways. All the way back out, 10 inches. Now we have our white. This one's different. So this one has words. So in order to make sure that your words stay the right direction, if we were to just put this in the Bodabra, let's dovetail the edge first. Habits. When you start doing things the same all the time, you develop good habits for knowing what comes next in your process. So this is 9.5. So if we were to do this, the minute that we twist it, and we put it in our bow dabra and flip this over, our words, if you look at them, are now upside down. The way to fix that is to build the bow on the outside. So we know we're starting with 9.5-inch tail. So you're going to go all the way back. We need a 5-inch loop, so that means we need to measure this out to 11 inches. So here's 11 inches. Go ahead and pinch it. And then what's in your right hand or left hand is going to go to your right hand. You're just going to hand that off. And then you're going to remeasure again. 11 inches. You're going to do the same thing. Hand it off. And then make sure you've got your 9.5 inches out. Trying to get it to cut while I'm holding it. So once you have it in, if you notice, all the words are facing in the same direction. Everything is going the right way. Then you can just take the whole thing and put it back in your bow dabra and then go ahead and finish dovetailing your edge. And that's how you get your words to all line up. Okay, now we're doing our blue. This should finish up my blue. Back to dovetail, because here direction doesn't matter. And this one is going to go to 9 inches. Twist, place it back in your bow dabra. You're going to do a 4.5-inch loop on this one. So always checking measurements, because that's what makes your bows look amazing. It also doesn't give you a lopsided bow where you're fluffing and you can obviously tell that one loop is way bigger than the other. And then you have to play the adjustment game, like pull on the ribbon to try to figure out which side you need to pull, because now it's slightly off. Don't want to cut into that one, so we're going a little shorter. And that pretty much finished off that roll. So just like that. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to save your, I always say save a 2.5-inch empty roll and save an 1.5-inch roll, just because sometimes you might get ribbon that, I don't know, you get shipped to you, it doesn't come on the roll. You have one here, so it's always good to keep your ribbon rolled. You don't need the pin though.
Trish said, wow, that's important to know. I couldn't get it right on my wreaths about keeping the letters.
Yeah. So build it outside and then put it back on the inside. So now we're gonna go our red. This came from Joann's 2 years ago. So you know how it is when you catch Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or Joann's at the end of the season, like late December going into early January. You can always score great deals. Like this was 125 feet of ribbon and it was like 80% off.
It's
so
Christmas time, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, at Christmas time.
After, yeah.
After, right. So it's always good to get really big rolls of ribbon, especially solids, because reds, you can use them after Christmas. This goes into Valentine's Day, thanks. Then as it starts to roll around into summer, it goes into the watermelon wreaths. Then it goes into your Patriotic wreaths. So you can really stretch your solid colors when you think, don't just think Christmas, think, you know, further down the line as far as holidays. Like I'll always pick up red and white mesh for Valentine's Day and Patriotic going into the next year, where everyone else is like, oh, I don't need any red or white, you know, Christmas is over. But I'm like, but Valentine's is just around the corner. Green is good for St. Patrick's Day, Easter, then again for summer. So this one was 8.5 inch tails and again 4.5 inch loops. It's the only ones, ribbons 3 and 4, that I duplicate. The loop length, which are both 4.5. This one will be 8 inches with 4 inch loops. So coming down just a little bit. Right there. This is really the only royal blue. Make sure. And then back out to 8 inches. Okay. The last one will be 7.5 inch lengths with 3.5 inch loops. And I usually always try to pick a patterned ribbon to end with, because it's the first one you see amid the stack. It's where your eye is drawn. And sometimes it's good to break up all the solid color with something pretty.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. She's got 50 stars.
Thank you. Totally forgot. That's gonna have to go on my list because I forget that. Stars. What are stars? Stars are tips. So each star is basically equivalent to 1 cent. So if you send 150 stars, it's what, $1.50?
$1.50.
Yeah. So that just helps. 3.5, and then 7.5 right there. YouTubers, you don't have that ability yet. I'm sure at some point they probably will. Okay.
All right, so this is going to be beautiful.
We hope, right?
Mary, she's watching from West Virginia, and she put all of her friends' names on there.
Aw, thanks.
She
It's a good way to share. Yeah, tagging people that you think would, you know, like to learn how to do this, or this is a great tutorial.
If you really like this tutorial too, this is the public group, so you can share this. Please share this on your page.
So here we go. So when we're removing this, I always take my pipe cleaner and bend in a U. It's so much easier to do it before you pick this up. Then I always say this is my triple decker club sandwich. The one where they put the extra bread in the middle. And then we're gonna just go ahead and pull that down. And then we're gonna go a twist. Hold the pipe cleaner, twist the ribbon. So much easier on your hands. Okay. Now, my board. So I use, this is an 18 by 24 inch cutting board that just has a C-hook put in it. You can go to Home Depot and Lowe's. They're already pre-cut in 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick. And then just pick up 1 inch to 1.5 inch C-hook. And then you pretty much have your own fluff board. The nice thing about it is it stores really nice right next to your refrigerator, just like your cutting boards do. So we're gonna basically take our C-hook and anchor our pipe cleaner on, like
right through
so.
the pipe cleaner. Okay.
Yep. It just holds it in place. You'll still get swivel action, but that's okay. So now all we're doing is separating. So you're gonna take a loop. Let's move the pipe cleaner out of the way. A loop on one side, then your tail on the other. Go over to the other side and do opposite. So you're gonna take your tail out here, and we're gonna bring our loop to the right. And then we are going to take our, since we have our loop and tail here, we're going opposite. So we're going to pull our loop this side and our tail opposite. Go over to the other side. Here's our tail. Here's our loop. What it's doing is it's alternating your colors for you. So if you get lost in the process, just remember what you do on one side, you want to do opposite the other side, so that loops are directly across from each other, tails are directly across from each other. And then all you're doing, we're not fluffing, we're just separating right now. So we'll leave this one, the red, white, and blue. We're gonna grab our tail and my loop. I'm gonna grab this one and pull it that way. And then you continue to work down your stack. So loop and tail, tail, and loop. Back up to the top, loop and tail, loop and tail. Then you're at the top, and go this way, and then this way. Then once you've got everything sorted, this is where you start fluffing. This is where you start pulling what color loops you want where, what color tails you want where, how do you want the placement of all your ribbon colors to go, what do you want in between other ones. I try to keep all my tails on one side, but you don't have to. You can kind of let those spill out on the other side.
Susan, I'm going to listen to your suggestion, and it works great. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I was like, there has to be an easier way.
I love the way Kat does her bows. Thank you, Linda.
And then remember, if you want to put the arc in so that it follows the direction of your wreath, you're just going to run your fingers, like pretend your fingers are the scissors, like when we used to do curling ribbon, and it'll kind of curl right back the way it used to on the roll. And then you don't have to worry about like trying to curl it. So the interesting thing, once you have your ribbon in whatever direction you want, remember how we put our ribbon in order? That means that you have a top and a bottom to your bow. If you want the words to match, then this needs to be the bottom, this needs to be the top. So when you're placing it, you've got to keep that in mind. You can't just place it wherever you want. There we go. Wherever you'd like on the wreath. Okay, so we'll take that. I'm always about storage, right? You need places to put things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of my inside ribbon, or where I had my pipe cleaners. I'll take this one. So this is where I'm gonna position my bow. I need to make sure that it's right side, you know, top and bottom is right. Which means pull this over. We wanna make sure our America reads right side. Bring this one back just a touch so that we have more room for our sign.
Myrna said you make it look so easy, but I'm still having problems. Just keep practicing.
Yeah, just keep doing it. You know, I don't know when or how long it took me before I started to get really good at making bows. Obviously, it wasn't the first year because most of my first year wreaths didn't feature bows. It was just a lot of practice. Practice makes permanent. Once you get it ingrained in your head how to make them, you're like, I got this.
And then Lily, have any of you seen some jelly kind of ribbon? Have you used it?
Yeah. Yes, I have jelly ribbon.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's like what they're talking about, jelly ribbon. Can you go grab a roll off my shelf? Look for the blue. Yeah. The blue is the easiest to find. because I have a whole shelf of blue, so that it's easy to pick out. If you remember back in the 80s or 90s when jelly shoes came out, they actually made ribbon like the jelly shoes. It's actually really fun to use. I use it in the beach wreaths. Yeah. So this is what jelly ribbon is. I'll show you.
That's a pretty good.
So it is a very plastic ribbon, and it's fun to use. It works out great on beach wreaths. It works out great on Halloween wreaths. Just where you want to add a little bit of fun into your design. That's what jelly ribbon is. And it comes in black, green, orange, purple, blue, mostly like Halloween colors. I think that's when it came out last year. So I'm going to figure out where my design's gonna go. So I wanna make some space for my bow. The nice thing is the welcome is at the bottom, so I have some play up here in the corner. But I think I want it to sit just the way it is. So it's gonna actually sit just like this once we get it situated.
Yep.
So that's the home for our welcome. And then we'll have like the ribbon kind of cascading and framing that. So we have to poke the holes in it first. So the best tool for that is a metal hole punch. So you can order them on Amazon. They're about $15. I've had the same one for going on almost 4 years, so that's a worthwhile investment. It's a Beadsmith 1.5 millimeter, but you can go all the way up to 2 millimeters, and in order to get that to work. So Hobby Lobby, Joann's, Michael's will have it in the jewelry section because it's used for punching holes in metal for earrings or jewelry. So we're gonna go ahead and add ours right here. And it works just like a hole punch. Punches a nice, neat little hole in your signs, which means you don't need to use the adhesive tabs anymore. And then we're gonna go ahead and use 22 gauge wire. It's what I prefer to use to anchor my signs to my wreaths. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one.
I think for the jelly ribbon, she asked, where do you get the jelly ribbon? I think you can get them from most
Craft Outlet.
Craft Outlet, Wreath Shop.
Yeah, all of the majors. As long as they still have that in stock.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're gonna take this, flip our sign over, of course after we put the wire in, because I like to wire them from the back. This way I can bend my wire to where the wire stays on the back part of the sign and not on the top. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. I've had fun making patriotic wreaths. I hope you guys have enjoyed all the patriotic tutorials we have done for you. We've really done a lot. Yeah, we've done the swag, we've done the patriotic rose, we did the Memorial Day cross. So, tons of stuff.
Vanetta asked, is 26 gauge too thin from Dollar Tree to use to attach this sign? Probably.
I would say yes. So, here's the way you can always be sure. The higher the number, the thinner the wire. So I'm using 22, which is a really nice, thick, sturdy wire. That allows me to get through, like if I'm doing a poof and putting ruffles on top of or curls on top of the poof, it allows me to get through all those layers really easy. You can probably get away with the 26, but it's gonna bend on you as you're attempting to push it down through all the layers of your mesh. The 22 also works really well if you're gonna add plush to your wreaths to get through, because I don't like to glue But I'll just use the, whatchamacallit, the wire, and run the wire through the fabric. That way they can just undo the wire and take the fabric out, or take the wire out, and then they can use the plush if they want.
Teresa asks, do you spray your wreaths for outside when you're done?
I don't. I have, if the only time I really spray them is if it is fraying really bad and I want to prevent it from fraying further.
Or if the customer asks.
Yeah, you can. I think I've had one customer asked if I would UV spray their wreaths. But the problem with UV spray is it works great for 6 weeks. And then technically you're supposed to spray it again in order for the UV protection to work. So
if you don't really have a direct sun beating down on the wreath, you don't really need to spray it.
That's why we always suggest keep it under a covered patio, a porch, or an awning. All colors are going to fade. It doesn't matter. So if it's sitting out in the sun, it's going to fade. Look at your patio furniture for like the whole summer. You know, you can kind of tell where it's faded from being placed in the sun. Same thing's going to happen with our wreaths. They're still going to fade. Darker colors will fade more noticeably than lighter colors will. I'm just making sure we can see all that pretty ribbon we put in. And let's go ahead and, right now there's a harsh edge to the sign. So in order to make that less harsh, I'm going to pull some of my mesh out and kind of frame the edges of that sign. It'll kind of take away that this is a square sign kind of look. So we're just kind of framing it a little bit. And here's a fray. Go around and make sure all your ribbon is super pretty.
That was a good question. She says, do you put a note of how to take care of your wreath in your box?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely how to get it out of the box and then how to care for it. How to fluff your ribbons, that whole kind of thing. Yeah, it kind of helps because most people, I've seen it. It's happened before because customers will send me pictures of their wreaths and you can totally tell they just pulled it out of the box. They didn't fluff anything. Or maybe while they were handling it to get it up to the door, you know, they've smashed a loop and you can see that. So just making sure you take your fingers, you know, kind of spread your loops open, make sure your ribbon tails are all straight because you want it to have the same look that it went to the customer's house in. You know, we try to secure them in the box as best as possible, but sometimes it's inevitable. The boxes get smashed.
But if it's really windy outside, you don't really need to spray it because the UV is only for direct sun.
Exactly. Okay, so let's put it up on the door and see what it looks like. Take this one down. And we'll set this one over here.
David said, would you show your private group a sample? A sample of what, how you spray it? Or, yes, you could.
Yeah, we could. I have the UV protectant spray. It's just a clear spray, so you would just spray the whole thing. You're going to have to let it dry for 24 hours because that's what it requires. You want to make sure, depending upon where you're getting your UV protection, read the directions. Sometimes it'll tell you, you know, spray until thoroughly saturated, and then you're going to want to do that. You know, spray everything. I would probably cover the sign, like with a paper towel or something to that effect. Is it straight? Let's crack it.
A little bit. There you go.
There you go. So, yeah, I wouldn't spray the sign because we don't know if that UV protectant will do anything to the finish on the sign or how it's shiny. It can make it dull. It can make it look water spotted. So there you guys go. What do you think of the last Patriotic Wreath for 2021? Did we do a good job?
Beautiful. Yep.
definitely a little bit different than all the others. So this one's kind of a happy marriage between your traditional red, white, and blue, because you have that colors in the sign a little bit throughout the wreath, but then you have the Americana colors coming through with the way that the sign was designed, as well as playing with the navy and more of a darker red. Not quite burgundy, but just a little bit darker red. So,
yeah, that's
all right.
Beautiful, great job, love it. Debbie said, yeah, that too, and how to take care of your wreath from sun and fluff and stuff.
Okay. We can definitely make sure we incorporate that in our group. If you guys are interested in joining my private group, it is available. It's on the website, which is KatsCreationsNMore.com. Steve just pinned it. It's $17 a month. You get 4 wreath tutorials every month, plus 4, they're business classes, but it's more like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Etsy, all the different kinds of free apps that you can use to go ahead and market and sell your wreaths. And then in August, we flip. So August, it becomes the business classes go away because the videos for replay are always still available. But then we go full force for the end of the year, because now it's time to get serious. This is our busy season. The minute Labor Day rolls around, boom, wreath makers, you got to have your stuff in your shop. You got to be making, you got to get ready to go. So that's there for you guys.
Thanks, Jason. Well worth it. Have learned so much other than just breathing.
Awesome. Yeah, we've got so private group members, no Q&A tomorrow. I'm going to post that on the group as a reminder. We're just going to move forward into the 5 o'clock business class, which is, hey, I found a great new way to ship wreaths, and you can save between $3 and $10 on every wreath you ship, and it's 100% free. So private group members, make sure you join me tomorrow at 5 o'clock for that. As a wreath maker, that is something that is well worth the cost of the class. So I will talk to you guys then. Have a great rest of your week. Talk to you soon. Bye.